Welcome to Behind the Smile with Dr. Shaggy. I'm a cosmetic dentist and the founder of Veneer Lounge and Modern Bite Dentistry. In this show, we go beyond the smile, highlighting all the incredible journeys of the amazing people around me. Together, we'll uncover their stories of success and inspiration, hoping to empower others to reach their full potential. Let's dive in and discover what's behind the smile. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Shaggy with Behind the Smile, and I have the honor and pleasure to have Miss Amy Jo Martin here with us today. Welcome, Miss Amy Jo.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here.
Isn't this an amazing background over here? We're here in Austin, Texas, and we have the Capitol right behind us, which is absolutely amazing. So, Miss Amy Jo, I would love to get started with this awesome interview, just talking about how you and I first started like meeting and chatting, and it was about Renegade Global, which was so impressive. I would love to hear the story, how this came into fruition.
Oh my goodness. I love it. It was a blind text intro from a vetted friend, right? Like, when you get that. And I remember just meeting you for the first time, and it's a pure click. But yeah, Renegade. So the word renegade, a lot of people think of a rebel, or I think of it as positive disruption, right? Not destruction. And we have a lot of opportunity to do that in this world right now. But Renegade really comes from, it was mid 2000s, and I was sitting at my desk working in the NBA for the Phoenix Suns, and I got a call. I was the director of new media and research. We didn't know what to call digital and all the new mobile and different types of digital, so they called it new media. You get a phone call, and it's Bob from basketball operations, and he said, Amy Jo, get down to the locker room right now. Shaq wants to learn how to tweet. Nobody knows what that means in this building, so get down here, click. And
oh my gosh.
That was, fast forward, meet Shaquille O'Neal, 7 foot tall. I go down the elevator. I'm a small town girl from Wyoming, like grew up in trailer parks, and I'd never met a celebrity before. I definitely had never taught a celebrity anything. So fast forward, I start helping him, and we're on the team plane one day, and there was this moment where my boss called me a renegade. And it was like equal parts. A lot of people would be freaked out. And it was this window of opportunity where I'm like, I think I'm going to start my own thing. And I texted Shaquille on the flight, or before we took off on the plane. And I said, I'm going to start my own company. And he said, great, I'll be your first client.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal is your first client with something brand new that you're just taking a leap of faith with.
No idea what I was doing. I was in my late 20s, and I was like, let's go. I don't know. But yeah.
Okay, now I have to ask, where did all of this confidence come from? Because for someone to have a great steady job with a great big team, meeting these celebrities and being like, you know what, I'm going to start my own company. So now I have to know, where did this all start? From Wyoming, with your parents? What was Amy Jo's childhood like?
Well, gosh, it was such a journey. But I always say confidence comes from competence, right? And then also community, who you surround yourself with. I believe there are such things as like confidence surrogates. Sometimes you outsource and borrow a little bit. But yeah, I grew up, my father worked in heavy highway construction, so we moved our home around, a little single wide trailer from different cities and states, and changing schools as a young child, like even mid-year, you better learn how to adapt. Like, you better learn how to meet people and just kind of roll with it. And I think that constant change became the norm. I was open, right? And that's helped me in technology, especially with my career, because if you're not changing, it's not going to end well.
You're behind.
Yeah,
right.
Like constantly. And so, but the confidence, I think of my father. He's always, he taught me to back the trailer down and like launch the boat and parallel park and do all those things at such a young age. And I think that I never really thought about it. But there was a moment that, growing up, I was always looking for adventure and just like that zest for life. Like, I'd run away from home like almost every day thinking, I'm just going to go explore and create, and then I get hungry and come home at night. But not to leave. Like, I love my family, but I just was curious of what was out there. But there were times where, you know, in the NBA, had knowledge and information about technology and what we could do to monetize it and grow the business. And I'm in my late 20s, and oftentimes I'd be at a boardroom table with billionaires and the owners of the team. And I'm the only female. And I knew I had something they wanted, which was the information and the experience. And I just had to figure out how to manufacture that confidence for myself, because there was no one else in the room that's going to do it for me. So you know what I did?
What?
I painted my nails red.
Ooh.
So we'd be at these tables, right? And it was a reminder. If I start to like drop my posture or start to like not feel confident, I would look at my nails and I'd pick my head up and I'd be like, get yourself back in the game.
Oh my gosh.
And my grandmother, she was a badass. She used to like paint her nails red, and it was kind of provocative back in the day, like,
Right.
"Ooh, red nails."
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I painted them red is because a French manicure wasn't going to work, because sometimes I'd get nervous and I'd start going like this. And Shaggy, am I allowed to say this? Like sometimes like my cuticles would get like start bleeding a little bit.
Oh my gosh, you're playing with it? Oh my
But
gosh.
anyway, that happened once and I was like, oh my gosh. But a French manicure wasn't going to cover that up. But red just became, you know, we have these triggers. Like, what are you going to do when no one else is around and you need to figure this out? And it's just a red stack. And then it turned to red lipstick and red whatever. And it's just a reminder, like,
Renegade
here
Global's
for a reason.
red. Yeah.
here for a reason.
Yeah. I love that. I love how your childhood, it was an ideal, right? Moving from different cities, making the new friends, building relationships, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations and making it comfortable. It just makes sense now. Like, no wonder, Amy Jo, you can make friends with anyone. You know, walking down the hall, you can make friends with anyone, which is such a power. And turning that into the confidence, turning that into sitting in boardrooms with billionaires. Like, what a great story. Now, let's dive into being New York Times bestseller.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's, you know, in those travels in different schools, there were moments where I was a little behind and they were like, you know, her reading and writing isn't, and so then I'd catch up. But I never imagined I'd be a New York Times bestselling author. Like, it wasn't, this is the trouble I have with people who start to box their career paths, or even in college. And it's like, if I would have, you know, did my playbook of what I thought, I would have only realized 5% of my potential. And that was huge to me. Like, I wanted to go to Madison Avenue and work in advertising in New York City, and that was my thing. And if I would have just been so narrow-minded and like laser focused on that, I would have missed all of this.
Wow.
All of it. And so like, we have to just stay open, right?
I
Look
think
at you,
that's the
like,
best advice.
all of what you're doing, you're so multi-talented and passionate. And we can't, I think there's no playbook.
You're so sweet. And I totally do agree with that, because in my head, I was thinking I'm going to be the best dental hygienist, then deciding to go to school and then just kind of going with the flow. Never thought I'd open a practice back in my hometown. You know, I totally get that, but having that open mindset obviously has worked out well for both of us. So
Yes.
I love that advice.
Entrepreneur, like best in your field, teaching others. You have multimedia, like incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back to you, Amy Jo. I love you. Okay, so do we have another book coming along?
We do. My labor of love. So I have to preface this because I think it's just part of the journey and story. So most of my life events happen on airplanes or in airports because I travel a ton, right? And getting my pilot's license right now, so I'm excited about that. Yeah. But I was on a flight, you know, it was April 13th, 2019, and by myself, going to Coachella, 6 months pregnant, as you do. And I went into labor, have my son on a layover. And I was in the middle of my second book, like really starting to get it clear. And he was in the NICU for 3 months in Denver on my layover. And I was like, great, you know, he sleeps a lot. Once he was out of the weeds and like we knew he was okay, he was going to make it, there's a lot of downtime. So I'm like, great, finish my book. And my literary agent was like, oh, no, you don't. Like, maybe you should just process all this. And I was like, no, I'm ready to go. And I think that was like a perfect example of you sometimes have to process more. When you're in things, it has to marinate and like fully integrate those lessons. And then I wanted to tell that story and those lessons right then and add it into the existing book. And she's like, no. And so I feel like it's finally landed. Here it is several years later, and it's all starting to make more sense. So it's called The Renegade Way. It'll be out 2026. First book is titled Renegades Write the Rules, rightfully so. And it's a mindset. It's an operating system that I've been using the last probably 15 years. Pressure tested it, and that's what I get to teach and speak about, and a lot of neuroscience and a lot of action baked into it. It's basically manufacturing bravery is what we're trying to do, and take action.
That is huge. That is huge, because one of the first, all right, so you're also a keynote speaker, like no big deal, like all of these accomplishments.
Yeah, that
How
wasn't
did
a
that
goal.
start?
That was not a goal. It just happened. How did that start?
How great though, because you had an open mindset.
Yep.
And then you were asked one day to be on stage. How did that
It was
start?
just expertise. Will you come talk about these case studies? And I created a formula, patent pending still to this day, but on how to measure and create new metrics for measuring digital and social media. And then working with Shaquille O'Neal and Dwayne Johnson and Nike and all these big brands, people would say, will you come talk about what you're doing? And then it just became fun and playful. And then I would bring more story, and I call it edutainment. And now, you know, speaking to like 9,000 people, and I can't believe I would have never, this wasn't the vision, this wasn't the dream, but thank goodness I didn't stick with whatever was in my mind too early, and I kept an open mind. But yeah, it just grew.
I think you inspire so many of us renegades, obviously, or else we wouldn't be part of the Renegade Global group. But it's wonderful that now you're on stages helping even way more people and inspiring them as well.
Well, yeah, and we're all human. I think I'm just a reflection, right? We're all just figuring it out, and we need, I think I see the potential in people before they see it in themselves, and then I cannot not see it happen, right? I'm like, oh, off the sidelines, in the game now, right? Like,
let's
action.
go. You could do it. Let's go. Yes, yes. Well, one of the things that I loved with one of the first keynote speeches, like, you know, you're great about your social media as far as putting in little clips, which I love. So selfishly, I get to listen in on those little details. But you say, like, why not now? Like, why not take action? How is that like your brand that you're trying to grow?
Yeah. So Why Not Now started as a podcast. After exiting my first company, I went and I bought a boat. I'm a boat girl, and learned to captain. And I drove myself crazy. I didn't know what I was going to do next, and I don't do well with a lot of downtime, so I just find things, and I'm like, I'm going to start a podcast. So I started the podcast on the boat. Like, what should I call it? When should I start it? And I was at a happy hour with a friend, and I was like, well, just why not now? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, or maybe it should be why not? And then we talked about it. It was like, no, it should be now. And the timing and urgency of saying why not now, it could be anything. It could be tiny, something small in the next hour. It could be a huge personal life, why not now stop something? But I'm a big believer of we vote with our time for the life we live, and every minute is a vote. And so vote wisely, because we don't know what the next hour, the next day is going to be. So why would you wait? Why? You know?
Oh my gosh.
Why not now?
Yeah, you're making me think so much about because I also view life in that situation too. Why not now? If something presents itself, I jokingly tell my friends, I'm like, be careful if you invite me somewhere. If I have nothing going on, I'm going to say yes. Because again, like, why not now? Why not build those memories and relationships and just grow from it? You never know who you're going to meet also along that journey. And
exactly. And how presumptuous of us to think that we're in control of all of, you know, it's like, just, you got to make it easy on yourself. And what would this look like if it were easy?
Yeah.
Just say yes.
I love that. That's so great.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful. Okay, so with this podcast, where do you like see that going?
So really it was a petri dish and kind of a way for me to just continue to gather data. You know, I've been so fortunate to learn from incredible minds and individuals. And so when I was in this, like, what am I going to do next mode? I would talk to a lot of mentors. I talked to a lot of people that I consider, you know, my personal board of directors, and their advice was amazing. I was like, we should be recording this. And, you know, we're 350 episodes now. It started in 2016, which Mark Cuban was the first guest ever.
Awesome.
And compounding all this information from my career to this data and these conversations and then some clinical research, like, there is really an operating system that a lot of people like yourself, if we dissect and reverse engineer, when you go from idea to action and you're making a decision, big or small, you all unicorns, from my experience, have very specific things that you do, even if you don't articulate it the same. So that is my like obsession, is to study that and get it figured out so we can package it and help other people do that too. And so a lot of this data is going in the next book. I live by it. My son even rattles off renegade rules. He's like, burn your boat, Mom. You got to put a mechanism into place to hold yourself accountable. And I'm like, renegade rule number 2, you got it, Lincoln. But like, Mom, we got to burn our boats, meaning let's go get ice cream now. Or, you know, like, don't give yourself an out. And then it's just a belief and operating system, really. And I think, you know, I do a lot of investing and a lot of just whatever I can do to help, whatever vehicle to help. Really, it's giving people the confidence and the bravery that they need. And it sounds so basic, but I've played in a lot of different arenas with a lot of different players. And even when you're coming down, like doing a deal or some transaction, it's going to come down to how much do you believe in what you want, and with grace, but go get it, you know?
I love this. Well, you pour so much into others. I've witnessed it myself. That where did that come from, as far as you wanting to just pour in and help others and watch them succeed and grow?
I feel like it's a little selfish because I love it so much. You just, I think that's how we, you know, we're all uniquely qualified to do something, and I get so much out of it that it's just natural. I love people. I love to connect, and I'm a storyteller. Like, I want to know your story. I want to help you tell it. But I think most of us don't understand our potential. We don't even have the concept of how much potential we have and our capacity. Not like do more and burn out. I mean, like, what are you uniquely qualified to do on this planet? Let's figure that out, because we need everybody in that sweet spot of theirs, and the world will be a much better place if we can get everybody in their lane.
Gosh, so like that really hit home, because I can think of so many people around me that are spreading themselves thin, not necessarily knowing what path to take, but to truly take the time to understand, what am I good at? What am I passionate about? And go forth with that. That's huge. That would be huge. And you're right.
Yeah.
It'd be a happier place.
Happier and safer. And, you know, looking at even Texas in this last couple weeks, there's a lot that we do to get in our own way as humans. And it's never one thing, but if we could all really start focusing on our special gifts, and that's not BS, it's like truly purpose, passion, skill. Where does that collide? Go find that sweet spot and live in that intersection, because we need solutions. We need people to step up and reinvent the way things are done. And I think this city is a great example of what's possible.
Oh my gosh. Austin is just I feel like Austin's the petri dish of just so talented people and excelling in the things that they truly like, and they figure it out and become successful. It's wonderful. I love sitting in a random restaurant bar making friends with the person next to me. I'm like, you do what? And you lived where? Like, so
I know.
cool.
It just attracts this, it's like a
Yeah.
hug to the soul. The city will just hug you as long as you're yourself, as Matthew McConaughey says, right? Our only requirement is you got to be yourself.
What brought you to Austin, Texas? Because you've lived everywhere and even on a
Mm.
boat. So now
I
we're
was in the forest. I used to see more animals in a day than people. The energy, I've spent a lot of time in Silicon Valley and LA and New York with my career, and then obviously tiny towns and trailers, but hospitality here. I'm a cowgirl too. I'm from Wyoming, but it's the tech, it's the progressive nature, the people that are here, like the native amazing roots, but also the city attracts people like you too. And we have the progressive reinvention, like innovative mindsets, but with that Southern hospitality. And sometimes on the coast, you get a lot of elbowing, especially as women. Like everybody used to fight for that seat at the table, and it felt like there wasn't enough room and scarcity. And I just don't feel that here. And I love being here as an investor too, because the talent is incredible. But then we got the culture. And so I just could live really anywhere, but I was like, I'd like to sample nature, and like, here we are. Why not?
Yeah,
Give it a roll.
bit of everything.
Yeah.
I love that. It's wonderful that you have that mindset of abundance. And with that comes, I feel like, even more success. But speaking of success, how do you define success for yourself?
Oh, this has been a hard lesson. I think that definition has changed over the years. It used to be, I have the story of, being on 210 flights in 1 year, averaging 4 hours of sleep a night, and I just was chasing those carrots, anything outside myself, more money, more recognition, more anything. And I don't even like carrots, by the way.
Good to know. We'll write that down.
Like all those carrots. But I just, found myself at JFK one day at the airport, and, I'm looking at the departure board. I can't remember where I'm going. I finally figured it out. And I go to fill up my tank, Starbucks, get some coffee. And as I went to sign my receipt, I blanked and I didn't know my name.
Wow.
Completely out of gas. And I was an emotionally and physically bankrupt millionaire. And it looked great from the outside, but I was just empty. And that's when I redefined, I used to think of success, sacrifice equals success. I was like, I got it, right? Like
Yeah.
I saw my family do that. I've seen so many people sacrifice and success. And that's not the key. It's really waking up happy and excited. That's success to me. But finding that sweet spot, purpose, passion, skill, can we, and it's a moving target, like, can we keep our eye on that ball because we're healthier, we're more successful financially, our earning potential, we're making a bigger impact. So as I started to shift that calculus, it's funny, money is just energy to me, right? It's just money, and you can block it and you can be open to it, and it just started to kind of change the game of different types of currency coming my way, and not pushing so hard. So success doesn't come from 4 hours of sleep a night. I've learned, but I think we're trained to think that that's the case.
Yeah, I kind of maybe feel I'm kind of on that path right now where it's like, okay, just keep going, like it'll pay off. And I know that there's so many of us entrepreneurs out there. So honestly, I feel like this is a huge takeaway for me, and I know a lot of our viewers that are going to be like, let's rethink this, because you're right. We see that even in the movies, and I mean, my parents, immigrants, right? Like same thing where it's just sacrifice. But then if you're losing yourself, forgetting your name,
we could get so far off that we think it's normal or okay. I'm fairly spiritual, and every morning, this is a note from like Elizabeth Gilbert, but I journal and I write, what would you have me know today? Just my soul, the universe, whatever you believe in, something bigger than me, obviously, and listening to that and not being so presumptuous to think that I know Like, someone else help me out here. Something's got to be bigger than me. And it's the people around us. It's that, you know, listening loudly. Because when we get going so fast, we're not listening. We're not operating from a strategic, open mind and heart. We're just literally putting fires out and trying to get through the day. And I think that's dangerous.
That could totally derail someone for sure. And where you're thinking, you're like, oh, I'm doing everything possible.
Right.
And possibly even derail yourself a little bit. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
thank you for sharing
society
that.
encourages it. And they're like, you're doing, keep going. Like, you're doing great.
Exactly.
I'm tired.
You're like, yeah, I know. Cool. Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that and putting that into perspective. So I know a topic that will guarantee a smile on your face.
Ooh,
and that's
boats.
Sorry. Sorry. Lincoln.
Oh, yes.
Your baby boy.
Yeah.
And he's just the sweetest, happiest boy. I love that you share your relationship even on social media, like the fun activities that you do with him, and that you get to share travel with him. What is something that you want to make sure he sees in his mommy?
You know, he asked me over the weekend, we're driving, and Mama, are you afraid of anything? And I was like, whoa, almost want to pull over and be like, here we go, let's talk. I love that question because he's already thinking about bravery in a way that, of course, it's a normal like thought as a 6-year-old, but one of my core values is bravery, 100%. And that is one thing that I am just trying to foster for him, and his life will, you know, be that much more rich and meaningful if he can have that baked into his DNA more and more. But so I'd say for sure bravery, and we have family values. You know, Lincoln's dad and I, we've converted our relationship and we're co-pilots from being a couple, but we still are one family, 2 homes, and we have a family unit, and we have our core values. And he knows all 5 of them. And be kind cubed is our first one. Kind cubed as in kind to yourself, kind to the planet, and kind to animals. Kind to yourself and others, planet, animals. And he's like, and another one is try again. If you strike out, ask for help and we'll figure it out.
Ooh,
and I heard him say that the other day to his friend, and I was like, winning.
Absolutely. That's totally a mom win.
Try again. If you strike out, ask for help and we'll figure it out. I don't know. None of us know what we're doing, I'd say, but we just do our best.
Yeah. Well, you're killing it. So I love it. Love witnessing that for sure. As far as the try again, if not ask for help, have you, what is something big that you've encountered where you're like, you know what, let me just ask for help and let's see what comes from this?
That moment at JFK, I'm like, I'm over my skis on this one. Like it looked like, you know, I had a lot of responsibility. I had employees in 10 different countries and a lot of people relying on me. And I'm like, I don't know what to do next. And so that was a big moment. I sat down with Simon Sinek, a friend of mine, and recorded the conversation. And I was like, I need help with my why. Like, I don't know why I'm doing this. And it looks great and fancy. And that was a big moment of, he said, what's your earliest childhood memory? I was like, are we really going there? Like therapy stuff? Like, I need help, like logistically. And he's like, my game, play it. I said, I'm standing at the top of a Black Diamond mountain with my dad. And he's like, your earliest? Like, how old were you? And I was like, this age. And I said, my dad doesn't really believe in the bunny slope. So we leapfrogged that. And I skied a lot when I was younger. And he said, were you scared? I said, no, I was with my dad. And he said, you know, make a pie if you want to slow down, make fries if you want to speed up. And if you get into trouble, I'll pick you up. And he's like, Amy Jo, have you ever realized that you're helping everybody else down their Black Diamond Mountains, but you don't let anyone help you? Ooh. And I was like, woo, nailed it. Going to get a Black Diamond tattoo right now. And Sam's like, no, you're not. Try this on for a few years and then call me and then I'll approve the tattoo, which came later. But, and it's true. Like, we all need guides. We can't be the best in everything. Like, it's so important. It's just, I I need help big time.
No.
I have a coach in every pocket. You know,
No, that's wonderful. And just to see what you've created and to know that it's okay to ask for help. And I feel like a lot of people, even some renegades, may feel like I can do this myself. I'm going to figure this out. But it's great to hear that it's not a bad thing to ask for help and guidance,
you're
especially
good at that
from
too. You're
well,
so smart too. I'm not.
uh,
This is my. You've done that well as an entrepreneur. You have to.
well, you have to. And I've slowly transformed into that role. But I love that you have people like, casual Simon Sinek, that you can just call and talk with. It's so great.
Totally name dropping there.
You're my Simon Sinek. I'm
gosh.
like, I'm going to call Amy Jo and see what she thinks about this.
But I think that's what's interesting is you probably do this too, but I've had mentors or guides where they're in my mind now. I don't even need to call them. I know what question they would ask me. And then I've just learned to ask myself those questions. And that's a way that they've scaled their value and their presence to me or to others. And that's all I do. Like all we're doing is just sharing that with each other, right?
Right.
So if we can have those voices in our head that are the little guardrails, like, nope, a little bit over here. Nope.
Oh, I like that. Guardrails. I love that.
Yeah, you learn to kind of mentor yourself a little more and more and more.
That's so true. That is so true.
You do that.
You have to, because I'm thinking about, I'm like, man, even just the other day, I totally did think, what would Ryan Leakes tell me right now?
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. He doesn't need to be there. You don't need to call him. Like, we don't have time. If we
Yeah.
called people every time, like, they don't have time either.
right. It'd be like, what? You already know the answer.
Yeah,
Yes,
like
you know what you need to do.
to zip
do
it and take action.
Okay, so as far as, because I love that you want to humanize everything, even business and stuff, there's a story to tell. Now, I know we're getting into this AI age. How are we going to combine this humanizing with AI?
I know. I'm like, we haven't even talked about AI yet. So AI, it's like the current love of my life, right? I think what's interesting about AI is we're just radically manipulating time and talent to our advantage as humans. And it's so exciting. Am I allowed to cuss on the, probably
I'm
not.
sure. I don't. Yeah.
It's my pretty teeth. It's so exciting, and it's going to be really amazing for this world. Like, even as a side gig, I got my financial life. I have my Series 65, and I was with some economists yesterday, and we're talking about like the GDP in the next, from like 2027 to 2029. That's when AI will fully converge and integrate into all industries. Like, they're predicting. Of course, it's here now, and people are starting to, but like, it's going to take some time still to see that lift with business. So the GDP, the global economy, is expected to start for like a 5 to 7 year span around that time, continue to grow from 5 to 8% year over year.
Wow.
And we haven't seen anything like that since World War II. Even the dot-com boom was huge, but it was a quick boom. It's here. 98 to 99, NASDAQ was up like 85% with tech. But this is a global lift in productivity, and the time that it saves us as humans, we were just talking about time. All we want is, as you get a little older and older, it's just like time. I'm optimizing for time with Lincoln, time to do what I love. And, this is magic in a bottle. And I've seen been on the front edge of these waves before, not like this, but it's going to radically change the way we live our lives and obviously do business. And we have the opportunity to make it in a really, really good way. So as we talk about what we're uniquely qualified to do as humans, AI is going to help take care of the blocking and tackling and things that we don't want to do that are tapping us at bandwidth, so we can be in that sweet spot and not be burnout and bored at the same time and chasing carrots. So I could not be more excited of what we're witnessing right now. And this is not a threat to humans. It's not. You better be getting involved and know how to use it. It's not going to take away your job unless you don't know how to use it.
Right.
And leverage it. So I think that's the big shift in mindset. become an expert in your lane when it comes to AI. You know,
That's huge.
Yeah.
It's just leveraging it, not necessarily that it's going to take over your role, like you said. It's just properly leveraging it. And then I love that you gave that advice as far as whatever your lane is, see how AI can help. And if you can be an expert, because that's something else that you mentioned when with Shaq, you offered something great that he didn't know how to do. And then look where that turned out, right? So same kind of thing with AI, leveraging that and helping more people that don't know how to use that. So might as well be that person that knows how to do that.
Social media was similar. Like Shaquille could be in one place at one time, but all of a sudden he's building these relationships and scaling his larger than life footprint. And people who didn't even care about basketball in Australia are now connecting with him in a way. And it's not because he's an incredible, MVP. It's because he's funny and he's human.
Yeah.
And that is a way, we talk about mailbox money. This is mailbox time. If your presence can be present even when you're not, and you're persuading and encouraging, like that's scaling yourself. That's what AI is starting to do too. So exciting. We just got an assistant. Every person on this planet just got an assistant and an intern with a PhD in every subject. But they're an intern, so like keep an eye on them, right?
Right.
But it's like,
it's a great way to view it.
They're a thought partner and they're a right hand like assistant, but they need us. I say they because I consider my agent, like, talk to her and we have a relationship. But.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen these memes of like people, me with my ChatGPT, and it's just like this like ghost appearance where you're just like sitting there talking, and I was like, that's totally me. I use AI at least once a day, at minimum once a day, to help me with whatever thought processes or ideas, even ideas for social media.
Yeah.
Hey, give me an idea what to talk about today.
Totally.
That's uplifting. Cool. Awesome. And then of course we humanize it in the sense where it's like, okay, now I do have a story that does relate to that.
Yep.
In order to communicate that. So that's a great way to view it. They're just, they're co-pilot too. Like,
totally.
use them to our advantage.
Otherwise, we're leaving time and money on the table.
Oh, see, that's a very valid point.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
AI planned my 6-year-old's birthday party for me and saved me probably 4 hours, and I got to go hang out with him. Like, give me a value of that. Like, allocate a number figure to those 4 hours.
When you mentioned that, I was like, oh, she's totally right. The balloons, the ideas, the things to buy, and then you just Amazoned it, right?
Well, I just told her how many people, what we want she helped us with the theme. It was Dino Pokemon, and I said, here's your budget, go find these supplies. Like, even if I had an assistant do that, I'd have to tell the assistant, and then I'm paying the assistant. Why not have AI? And I need it delivered by this time, and here's the spreadsheet for the invites. Create an invite, and I had links and I was ready to, it was a few clicks. It wasn't like looking for blue plates and or telling someone to go look for blue plates.
Right,
and find the right ones.
Oh my God.
By the right time and delivery. And
my next party, I'm going to definitely use AI. I will.
Yeah, your wedding. Are you using it for your wedding?
I didn't use it for the wedding, but lesson learned.
But
like,
or just,
maybe the thank yous, right? We'll use AI for the thank yous. Okay, keep an eye out for that. Amy Jo, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I want to leave this with, if you could whisper into 13-year-old Amy Jo's ear, what would you whisper into her ear about the future?
I would say fly higher. Fly higher.
Ooh,
I know. You're not even close to the sun, sister. Like, keep flying higher. It's not hot yet. Like, there's so much further.
Oh, that is so inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing your story, your heart, your memories, the inspiring stories. I know you're going to inspire so many people, like, just watching this episode. Thank you for your time. I know you're a very busy lady. So
likewise, you're such a gift in my life in so many ways. And thank you for living in that intersection.
Oh, I appreciate you. Well, you guys, thank you so much for listening in, and I hope you found this story to be so inspirational. And one of my takeaways is why not now? So if you're sitting at home thinking about why not now, just pursue that, whatever it is. Ask that girl on a date, take that job promotion, whatever it is, why not now? And guys, don't forget, don't stop smiling.